Going on, everybody? Southern Paladin here. Little breezy today. It's a video response to Shafe Tards. Appreciate your words, and I also appreciate the clarification on the travel ball. And you are right that those secondary players do need to come from somewhere, and they do quickly get to the age to where they outgrow Little League. And my opinion was somewhat biased and shaded by my friend's son played travel ball, and my father-in-law coached high school baseball. So he had a certain opinion of travel ball and the type of player that it created for him, by the time they absorbed them as high school coaches. And I don't know if that's as compared to Little League, but certainly no schools around here have a middle school baseball program that I'm aware of. So where does that come from when some of the kids are getting bigger and stronger and faster versus the others? In the case of my friend's son, it ended up being a bit of a waste. He came up through travel ball where he was seemingly something, and then the baseball program was so stacked in our area that it was even a big deal to make junior varsity at all your freshman year. And so his freshman year, when he came up from travel ball, he didn't make the team. He was like, they said to bring him on as a manager for varsity. So, and he wasn't, I don't want to insult him or anything, but he wasn't what you would call some of these kids are like natural athletes. Like, you can tell that they have the framework that something truly incredible is going to be built on. They're like, their wrists are an inch bigger in diameter, they're an inch taller, they're 10 pounds heavier, they're 10 seconds faster. But he could work and he could hit, and we couldn't really talk sense into him and like, listen, well, if you're there at varsity and you're able to be like, he wouldn't be doing nothing. Like, he would still be able to actually help with practice in varsity, like pitch, for example. Like he always wanted to play catcher, but it turns out he was actually a good pitcher, but he wanted to play catcher. But unfortunately, the team already had two catchers. So we couldn't get through to him. Like, have the coach place you, And these coaches nowadays where they're like, oh, call me Coach Tom, instead of when I was growing up, it was the coach's last name, like Coach so-and-so. But they do have to come from somewhere. And you can certainly tell the difference when, I remember thinking back when I was in school, there was a pitcher, and he was on that next level. And this, I want to say kid, but he's obviously not a kid now. He was a couple years older than me. But literally, this pitcher at the high school level could pitch the ball so fast back then that there wasn't anything that a player could really do about it. Like, he was fast enough to where, say at the college level nowadays, the batter has to actually initiate the swing before the pitch is even made. Like, the batters at the high school level weren't prepared for that back then. So literally this guy could pitch a near perfect game every single game just because of how much faster and stronger he was than anybody else. I don't know what my point was in all that, but good on you. I was in am in a somewhat similar situation with one of my kids. He's very, very talented, and not just in my opinion. So it's in the arts. So you actually you're actually bringing your child up through a very different route as they're growing up than what you would if they were not that way. Meaning the artistic talent is so great that you want to fan those flames of inspiration and talent, as opposed to, hey, why don't you go get a job? Like it's enough to where you truly, and luckily we have the means to where, they don't have to work. So that is that. But $300 baseball bats. Come on. So the difference between the $250 baseball bat and a $300 baseball bat is the extra 5 feet that the ball's going to be getting hit. I can't wrap my head around it fully. To answer a comment that Backwoods made about people that played sports at the high school level and then that was it. I didn't realize how much it affected me until my freshman year started at USF. And I probably, if I was thinking about it, or if I was, or if I had proper guidance, or if I had listened to what my coaches and people had recommended, maybe doing intramurals would have helped. But I didn't feel it at first. I didn't think anything of it. But there was this institution that you're part of for a very, very long time. And no matter what your coaches said, say senior night, when we all walk out onto the field and, the coaches are like, okay, this is going to be the last time for a lot of you that you're in this situation and da-da-da-da-da, just trying to bring realism to it. And your parents come out on the field and they don't really get it if they're not sports parents, if they're not dyed-in-the-wool sports parents. So the next year, and you don't think of anything at first because, seasons start and seasons end. And then all of a sudden, when the season should start, you get this feeling like, man, something's missing. And is it because you peaked in high school? Well, I'll tell you one thing. You're not going to be in a situation to where there's crowds cheering for things that you're doing over in the corner, like literally, there's no substitution for on Friday when you're wearing that jersey and you're being looked at, and there's no substitution for when you're going to the pep rally and everybody's cheering. Golly. Very few things like that. And it's different. Had similar feelings being a parent, similar feelings in success, but it's a transition that could be difficult. And I would say that it'd be remarkably difficult for individuals who have staked their future on those physical endeavors. Some of the kids in my area, they sacrificed aspects of their education in order to be stronger and faster, and others even sacrificed their future health to be stronger and faster. And it gets tricky because what's the statistic? Like, the NCAA is .00 or 0.01% of the top high school athletes, and then the NFL is like the .001 of the top NCAA athletes. It's a pretty in regards to football, it's a pretty long shot. And man, I don't know. All right, that's all for this one. Catch y'all later.